What's up everyone, it's Rex, and today I wanted to share with you some of my first impressions of my new Esquif Prospecteur 15. So before we get started, we need to understand what this boat is and what it is not. A little history lesson on Prospector canoes. They were designed essentially as a truck of canoes. You often hear it referred to as the workhorse of the North. They were designed to carry heavy loads for trappers and prospectors that were moving up and down Canadian rivers. This boat is much happier when it's used in that capacity. There's a noticeable difference when I have a second person in the boat compared to when I paddle it solo. However, I'll be using this boat solo as a wilderness tripping canoe. So to simulate that load for this video, I'm going to place some dry bags full of water in the front of the canoe to kind of help out with the trim. So in regards to weight, this boat weighs in at 60 pounds. It comes in T4MX. It's definitely not the lightest option, but it's certainly not the heaviest either. If you're paddling rivers where you're going to be encountering rocks and bumping up against things, to me, I feel like it's worth the trade-off for the weight for the better durability. I've not portaged this boat for long distances, but the short distances that I have carried around, it seems to be manageable. Obviously, that's going to vary from person to person. So let's talk about stability. This canoe is not your typical recreational canoe with a wide bottom that has a ton of initial stability. However, that's not a feature that you would want for what this boat was built for. This canoe has a rounded bottom, which gives it a great secondary stability, which is going to help, maneuver in whitewater conditions and things like that. So commenting a little more on the durability, regarding T4MX, the material that this boat is made out of, it replaced Royal X that so many people loved in the older canoes. But with this boat here, I've seen where some guys were on a trip and they accidentally wrapped or pinned their canoe in and wrapped it around a rock. And I thought for sure that their trip was over. But once they were able to free the canoe, they just popped it back in place and finished the trip. Now that's not something that I hope to be testing for you guys, but it is nice to know that if you wrap this canoe, more than likely you probably won't be stranded and you can at least finish your trip. Now, as far as maneuverability and tracking, this boat has a 2 3/4 inch rocker, which is the kill line that curves upward from the middle towards the ends of the canoe. And essentially what that does, that allows the canoe to pivot on a midpoint. The more rocker a canoe has, the easier it is to pivot. This canoe is kind of in the mid-range, making it great on rivers and manageable on open water. Now, I've not had this boat on open water yet, but I have paddled it on this lake here with some pretty good winds. And if trimmed properly, it seemed to track okay in the windy conditions, but when there is no wind, it tracked very well. And you can see that this boat has tons of carrying capacity. I've placed in here for reference, this is a 85-liter pack and a 60-liter canoe barrel. So you've got plenty of room for carrying extra gear. You can see all the extra space I have. I could put tons more gear in here. Well guys, that wraps this up. I hope that you found this video helpful. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did, and then hit that subscribe button if you want to see future trips that I have planned this year.